Check this.
Now, let's step into something that hits close to home. How screens are shaping childhood. Our next speaker, Deepa Kiran ma'am, breathes life into lost art of storytelling. Deepa Balasubramaniam, she is an internationally recognized storyteller, educationalist and research scholar on a mission to revive India's rich oral traditions. Through music, language and narrative, she connects people across cultures and generations. Today, she invites us to reflect on the impact of digital screens on childhood and learning. We welcome you, ma'am. Let's give a big round of applause to Deepa Kiran, ma'am.
Okay, I don't know how to fix this. You can fix that. Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Vanakkam. I wanted to start with a very simple sharing that I needed to use my hands for. That I needed to use my hands for, but I will try and do it with one hand. And I invite all of you to join me. Yeah? Can you join me? Need the two hands vechchu panna paakalam. Okay? Just do what I do. Watch me very carefully, listen to me very carefully. Do what I do and sing what I sing. Seriya? Okay? Nejjama? Inge paadnom. Okay, super. Sa re ga ma. I use one hand, you use two hands, huh? Fa dha ni sa. Fish அது ரெண்டு கை சா நீ த பா மா க ரி சா. How are you feeling? Nice? Any other word? Louder? Any other word? Okay, and here's some laughter. At least it triggered some conversation. Yeah? Welcome to childhood. Children and childhood, youth, you are already there. It's all about joy, beauty, spontaneity, curiosity, music and movement. Or tayangama. Yes? Same thing if you ask elders to do, they'll be looking. Yeah? Who's watching? What are they going to say? Yeah? This is the world of childhood, and what is screen probably taking away from us in this is what I'm hoping to share with you today. Yeah? Screen vara problems, eyes on screen all the time. We all know. Yeah? Brain rot. Oxford 2024, that's the word that they have created, brain rot, damaging the brain because of screen. Yeah, NIMHANS, National Institute for Mental Health, they get about 6 to 14 cases every week of addiction to screen from children and youth. Yeah, so problem, we are all aware of the scale. Yeah, I'm hoping to share what is happening, and where I'm coming from is now a storyteller. Kada solradhu is what I do. That is my profession. And kada solracha nama screens alla side la vechittu we are just talking to each other. We are just engaging with each other. Now an English teacher, so classroom la pasangaloda interact panni language kathu kodukkuradhu. That is also what I do. Now a mother of 2 teenage boys and successfully veetla TV illama irundirukom. What I learned a little bit about non-screen world is what I'm hoping to share with you today. Yeah, through that glimpses of my journey. Yeah. So listen, listen everybody, just for you I have a story. Listen, listen everybody, just for you I have a story. So you are listening, excellent. This is a story of a great king. He called himself Emperor so-and-so the Great. He had conquered many lands here and there and everywhere, and every time he came back with victories and he told his mother, Mother, I am now going towards the Indus River. I'm going to conquer those lands. Tell me what you want from there. And she said, I heard they have sages. Can you please get me one sage, please? Sure, Mother. And this great emperor came down, and sure enough, right beside the river, under a banyan tree, was meditating a sage. And our Grand Emperor the Great, with his huge army, he said, Sage, you are my slave. I declare you my slave. The sage looked at him and said, Aramboya, you are a slave of my slaves. Alexander said, excuse me? I am okay, the great, all that, okay. I am a master of my senses. You are a slave of your senses, and that makes you a slave of my slave. Hearing this, our king was of course confused. And why do I share this story? I share the story when I am asked, Deepa, so you're saying screen is not good, huh? No, I'm not saying screen is good. I'm not saying screen is not good. I'm saying let's check in whether screen is being our master or we are the master of the screen. Yeah, and that's where it makes the entire difference on what screen can do to our lives. Yeah, I had a friend who had come over to my place when I was leaving with my children, and we were going to be in a farm for some time. Okay, she had come with her daughter, and she said, oh, we'd also like to come along. I said, are you sure? She said, yes. We went to the farm. It was a day long. We had to spend the whole day in the farm. And that girl went, I'm bored. I'm so bored. I'm bored. You said we're going to the farm. Sorry. Mom, you said we're going to the farm, she said. And mother said, yeah, this is the farm. So it was a very quiet place. Concha, there were some animals here, some animals there, some food being cooked, okay? And then she said, no, this is not the farm. And then we realized her reference for farm is, oh, MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. So she's seen a farm with animals in all multicolors and dick chicka dick chicka dick chicka dick chick music. And that's her idea of farm. So when she went to a real farm, boring. Where did the boredom come from? Disappointment. Yeah, she was disappointed with the reality she saw. That is because her reference for reality was the screen. So that's the danger of screen. When we lose awareness that what is on screen is perhaps not the reality. Of course, many times we are aware, but many times without realizing, we might lose awareness. And you might think, oh, she's a little child, but this is also happening with adults. When we talk of the mental health, the addiction cases of screen addiction report gaming addiction, report pornography, which is once again an area of unrealistic, glamorized expectations of bodies, of acts of intimacy. And therefore, when the real thing happens, what happens? Disappointment. Disappointment with body image, disappointment with the nature of the actual real acts. And in fact, what is worse is to cover it up, one goes back to the screen to make up for the disappointment. And then it's another cycle again. Yeah. So these are the possible dangers of screen that we could just stop and think about. It's not very uncommon today to see, let's say, a small child being able to say, very small child being able to say, mango is a fruit, it is rich in vitamin C, and then it also has a yellow color, it grows in the tropical climate, they can give you so much information, right? and that information could have been gathered from a screen. Naming the capitals of all the countries in the world could have been gathered from a screen. But when the child is telling us about the mango from a screen, they can at the most pinch open the size of a mango, see it nicely. Cut to running through the gardens, climbing up a tree, sitting on the branch, plucking a mango, biting into it, feeling the flesh, feeling the sweet sourness, feeling it in your throat. How different is it? For you, our equivalent would be, you can watch 100 videos on how to ride a bike, but you have to ride a bike to actually know, right? All the screen gaming biking is very different when you actually ride a real bike with petrol and fuel and nuts and bolts. We can see any number of recipes on YouTube, but actually cooking it, two different skills, yeah? What is getting involved? What is missing in screen? What gets locked in screen is the eyes. Everything is primarily eyes, maybe at the most little bit of listening. What about the other senses? Dysfunctional with disuse. They aren't getting a chance to be used. Slowly, they are likely to not be used at all. On the contrary, if you're going to use the senses, there is enough research to show that we understand better when we use all our senses to experience something, that we also remember better. For example, UCLA University and Princeton University have done research with one set of students who took notes by writing by hand, another set of students who took notes by typing. And those who took by hand, they were able to understand better and remember better. There are many reasons. One of the reasons is called generation effect. You know, you have to generate the form of a letter, which takes time. In the process, you're thinking. In the process, you're like, I can't type everything that the lecturer is saying. So you decide what to write down. So you think what is important, and you write down only that. Just such a simple act of bringing all our senses in our body can work so differently with the screen. These are a couple of stories that I wanted to highlight to you about the nature of screen. There is a polymath called Michel Poliani, yeah, who said there is something called explicit knowledge and tacit knowledge. Explicit knowledge, you can print it, you can tell it, but tacit knowledge you might know, you cannot tell. You might know how to ride a bike, you cannot explain to someone how to ride. You might know how to swim, you may not be able to explain it, yeah? What screen does, what eyes on screen does, is improving all our explicit knowledge and not working on our tacit knowledge. But tacit knowledge is really the root, is really what we need. And more than that, what we need is togetherness. Someone who thought very highly of screen, a white man, he went to a small village in Africa. He saw the people sitting and listening to a story by a storyteller. And the storyteller was saying, and so it was. He narrated the story of a king and how the king wanted to know the difference between heaven and hell. And how a sage said, ha! I am not going to tell you. The king got so angry, he pulled out a sword, said, you will not tell me? And the sage said, this is hell. Then suddenly the king realized, oh my God, my hand was just over me and I was going to kill the sage. Immediately he said, I'm sorry, sage, I'm sorry. And the sage said, this is heaven. All the people were listening very nicely to the storyteller. Our white man said, hey, listen, I have this box for you. It's called the television. I'm setting it up in your community center. It knows many more stories than the storyteller. He set up the TV, went away, and came back after 1 month. What do you think was happening? All the villagers settled around the TV. The TV was in one corner and everybody was sitting around the storyteller. And the white man came and said, hey, I gave you this box. It knows many stories, more than your storyteller. And he said, yes, this TV knows many stories, but the storyteller knows us. This is what the screen cannot give. The screen cannot give this physical presence that we have now with each other. You giving me your attention, me giving you my attention. An exchange of love. The gift of physical presence. Screen has its benefits, I do not deny that. A screen should be used for very many reasons. Nevertheless, I invite all of us to take a few moments to think about what is the screen really giving us, and to sometimes knock and check, hey, am I the master of the screen, or is the screen being my master? And when you do that, if you find me around, knock and check on me also, Deepa, too much on screen. So that I will also be reminded to step back from my eyes on screen and to step in and see the real world with all the senses, with my body, with my mind, with my heart. Thank you very much.
Table.